Welcome to the Reconnection Club podcast, the show that helps parents heal troubled relationships with their adult sons and daughters. I'm your host, psychotherapist Tina Gilbertson. Each week, I'll offer you compassion, clarity, and personal development tips designed to help you reconnect, not only with your child, but with yourself. Now let's get started. Many years ago, around the turn of this century, I was talking to a friend who told me that she'd discovered she'd been breathing wrong, and some guy was teaching her how to breathe better. And I don't remember who the guy was. It might have been someone local, but at the time, I didn't say this out loud, but I remember thinking, that's absurd. Breathing is literally something we can do in our sleep. Why on earth would anyone need to learn how to breathe? I thought because breathing was natural and automatic, we didn't need to think about it. I never stopped to wonder why, of all the autonomic processes of the body, digestion, heart rate, metabolism, temperature regulation, why was breathing the only one we could reliably control? Now, I think that's highly significant, but I didn't give it any thought back then. So unfortunately, I wasted a lot of years not understanding how to use my own breath and not talking to my clients about it unless they had anxiety. I did teach belly breathing to my clients with anxiety because that's what they taught us to do in graduate school. Thank goodness. But otherwise, I never thought about breathing, my own or anyone else's. Fast forward to about 3 years ago, I started getting more and more interested in learning about health-related issues that affect my audience, parents unwillingly estranged from adult children, particularly trauma and, more recently, chronic pain. And in exploring both of those topics, I kept running into breathing as an intervention to support emotional and physical healing. As I've learned more about it, I've become a big proponent of breathing practices, and not just in those contexts I mentioned, but for everyone. I currently have a daily breathing practice myself that definitely affects my sense of well-being. And so I wanted to share the open secret of breathing with my community because there's a reason it's been around for thousands of years. Mindful breathing is powerful. I recently had the great pleasure of talking with science writer Nick Heath, who founded the Breath is Life Learning Center, which I subscribe to. And in today's episode, I'm going to share a couple of brief excerpts from that conversation. First, here's Nick on the benefits of breathing through the nose instead of the mouth.
So nasal breathing is as simple as it sounds, breathing in and out through your nose. The reason it's so powerful, though, is that your nose does a whole bunch of things to basically optimize your breathing. In most cases, we can say, noses are for breathing and mouths are for eating. Of course, that's not always the case. We're talking and, I'm probably mouth breathing as I'm talking some, and there's always exceptions to the rules. But in most cases, we should be breathing through our nose and getting some of these benefits, such as better warming and humidifying of the incoming air. So as the air comes in, it's going to get turbulence and generate heat. And then it's also going to pick up moisture. And that's going to basically serve as an air conditioner for your lungs. So by the time that air gets to your lungs, it's ready to not cause any type of irritation, to be absorbed and to basically optimize gas exchange. And so that's, a huge factor is just the warming and humidifying, which we miss a lot of that when we breathe through our mouth. The nose will also naturally slow down your breathing. And we've already talked about slow breathing quite a bit. And so just that baseline of slowing down your breath is going to be beneficial for your overall state of your nervous system. So just even if you don't do any breathing exercises, if you were to just switch to nasal breathing, you're more than likely going to notice a calming effect with even just a day or two of doing it. And then over time, again, just that compounding effect.
Nick went on to talk about a study that found more oxygen getting into the tissues of the body with nasal breathing over mouth breathing. And of course, all those little hairs inside our noses are designed to trap large airborne particles so they don't end up in our lungs. The mouth has no such filter. Nasal breathing is so good for us that if you decide to adopt just one breathing practice for your health, Nick makes the following recommendation.
You could, if you just taped your mouth and notice like exactly what you just said and and notice when you're mouth breathing and try to be conscious to come back to nasal breathing throughout the day, that's probably, the 20% that will get you 80% of the benefits, or even the 1% that gets you 99% of the benefits, because that's where a lot of the power is just because that's every single breath you take. It's not just 5 minutes and then you're done. It's every breath, every 20 to 25 or 30,000 breaths you take each day is now a little bit better for you. And of course, over time, if you're getting a little bit more relaxed on each of those 20,000 breaths, you're going to, reduce your stress, improve your nervous system health, improve your oxygenation, improve blood flow, all of these things, even if it's just a micro amount, 1% or 2% or whatever it might be, all day, every day, it grows into so much more. So yeah, as much as you can, breathe through your nose. If you're an athlete or, like to work out, there's always exceptions to when you might just practice mouth breathing. A little bit of mouth breathing isn't going to hurt you every now and then, but it's that kind of chronic upper chest mouth breathing that people have habituated that causes these chronic health problems. And so just one simple switch to the nose can be extremely powerful.
In any discussion of breathing, it's important to acknowledge that there's no magic bullet that heals all trauma, chronic pain, parent-adult-child estrangement, or any other significant challenge. But Nick makes an eloquent point about breathing and self-help in this final excerpt.
It's a tool for life. It's a tool for improving all aspects of our health and our wellness, but it's not everything. And so that's the most important thing I want people to take away, is that it can help with a lot of things, but it's not going to fix everything. So just keep that in mind. But remember that of all the things out there, of all the self-help we hear and all these different things and tools, breathing is the most fundamental. It is the simplest, the most accessible. It's always with you, and it's free. It takes nothing but the nose and airways you already have and lungs. So just try to utilize the fact that we've been given this kind of remote control to our nervous system right here through our breath. Enjoy it, and try not to stress over it. Just make the most of it and enjoy having that power at your right there in your nose.
From personal experience and based on the research so far, Nick is absolutely right to identify breathing as a remote control to our nervous system. What an exciting concept for easing physical and emotional stress, including the stress that contributes to takotsubo or broken heart syndrome, which I talked about in the last episode, number 145. I will link to Nick in the show notes, and I encourage you to check out his work. And if you're a member of the Reconnection Club, you can find the whole interview inside the library at reconnectionclub.com. Until next time, remember that you are a loving, lovable, and still growing human being. So please take good care of yourself. Bye for now. If you've enjoyed this episode of the Reconnection Club podcast, I invite you to check out reconnectionclub.com. The Reconnection Club is for parents at any stage of estrangement from their adult, child, or children. So whether you've just realized there's trouble between you, you've been living with estrangement for years, or you're newly reconciled but still walking on eggshells, the Reconnection Club is your essential resource for information, support, and continued personal growth. With our courses and workshops, expert interviews, monthly Q&A calls, and a friendly, active community, the Reconnection Club is a wonderful place to be for anyone suffering the pain of estrangement from an adult, child, or children. So check it out at reconnectionclub.com.